Mick Wadley coming in live here from Gap Funded. Full breakdown on how to start a vending machine business with no money. If you've ever wanted to get into vending but figured you needed a pile of cash sitting in your bank first, this one's for you. And here's the exact two-step process people are using to get into vending machines without touching their own savings and without a bank ever getting involved. So, the problem. Here's where most people get stuck. A decent vending machine is not free, and if you walk into a bank with no business history, they're not going to want to hand you a loan. So people assume the whole idea is dead before they even start. Machines cost money, upfront capital is required to purchase equipment, banks say no, lenders want years of business history before approving loans, and the wrong assumption. Most people think no money means not possible, and that assumption is dead bloody wrong. Let's get fair into it. So the two-step process is super simple, but it is nuanced. There's two steps to this. The order matters. Skip step one or do it out of order, and step two does not work anywhere near as well. So step one's rapid gap funding, unsecured money that lands fast. To prepare you for step two, which is the 0% credit card stacking, this can be done on a brand new LLC, and it's applied for once your file is primed. So step one creates the conditions for step two to work at its full potential. Do them in sequence and the whole system compounds in your favor. So step one, rapid gap funding. Rapid gap funding is a stack of unsecured term loans submitted in the right order across multiple lenders all at once, matched to your income. No lien on anything, no collateral required. We can get up to 120K maximum available. But the easy way to think about this is about 40% of your personal annual income, because each lender will give you 15 to 20% of that. Funding ranges from 20K to 120K depending on your income profile. Lands in 3 days. Money typically lands in your account within 1 to 3 days. Now, the thing about this is where you put that initial rapid gap funding. And here's the part most people miss. The gap funding does not all go toward vending machines straight away. It's split strategically across two purposes depending on your profile. So first, if you're drowning in credit card debt, your utilization's high, we want to pay down revolving debt. Clear existing credit card balances, lowers your utilization, frees up monthly cash flow simultaneously, and it's the fastest way to boost your FICO score for a better stack down the road. So set aside for machines at the same time. The remainder is reserved for equipment, inventory, and setup costs when you're ready to deploy. So why paying down debt first matters? Utilization makes up about 30% of your credit score, and this is the file prep step nobody talks about, and it is the engine that powers step two. So utilization is the second largest factor on your credit score, fastest way to get into the 700s ready for a credit stack. And your starting utilization, if it's anywhere around that 50 to 100 mark, typically people come to us at about 80%, which is perfect because high utilization is suppressing their score. There's something we can do about it. Dropping utilization to near zero with the rapid gap funding can move your score 40 to 80 points inside a single reporting cycle, under 30 days. So step two, we're now primed for 0% credit card stacking. Once that reporting cycle hits, your score's moved, your file is now primed for step two, and you've already maybe got into your first couple of machines with that gap funding as well, because your utilization's down, your score's up, you qualify for a bigger stack than you would have day one. Up to 150K on the first run can be a brand new business. We're going to stack 4 to 5 0% business cards applied for simultaneously, matched to your location and banking relationships in the exact right order for maximum approvals. And then you've got 12 to 21 months at 0%. Introductory interest-free periods give you a long runway to deploy capital and generate returns, get up and pumping, and then it compounds from there. So what this looks like in practice, the timeline's straightforward, gap funding lands fast, debt gets cleared, your score climbs, and then you stack cards on a stronger file than you started with. So days 1 to 3, gap funding lands in your account. Days 3 to 30, debt paid down, score climbs through the reporting cycle. And then day 30 plus, or even much sooner, you could do this step one if you don't need the gap funding, but you go and stack the 0% cards on an improved file, buy machines, stock inventory, pay your employees and marketing, whatever it is, cover that setup. All this happens inside the zero interest window, meaning you're deploying capital before interest ever becomes a factor. Now, the part most people miss. Once the machines are earning, you pay down the card balances. As you pay down, your limits increase. You've shown you can max out those cards, pay them down responsibly, which means next time you go to expand, you can stack bigger on cards that keep working for you. So we start with paying down card balances, limits increase, stack larger next round once you're cash flowing on those machines, and it becomes a revolving line that grows alongside the business, not a one and done loan. It's actually preparing you for a much larger stack in a year to a year and a half. So why this works for vending specifically? This two-step approach suits vending machines well. The gap funding covers you in those first few weeks while your file catches up. And by the time you're stacking cards, the business is already close to paying its own way. So low equipment cost per unit, this is a big one. Vending machines are accessible compared to most business assets, making the funding stretch further. Fast, visible cash flow. Once a machine is placed, revenue shows up quickly, ideal for a 0% introductory window, and gap funding bridges the wait. The unsecured funding covers the period while your credit file is being primed for step 2. You've already launched your business and you're already generating that revenue. So what you need before you start. This process works best when the right conditions are already in place before you begin. Make sure you have these 3 things sorted. An existing revolving debt doesn't need to be, but this is what drives the score jump in step 1. Without it, the utilization drop and the points gain does not happen. However, if you are already in the 700 plus, don't even worry about it. Get pumping with the 0% cards and the gap funding. It's just important the gap funding goes first. A placement plan. Know where the machines are going before any funding is deployed. Location determines cash flow speed. A realistic budget. Now, have a concrete number for inventory and setup costs before the process starts. And if you haven't set up your LLC yet, we use Doula. Just do it online for a couple of $100. See what this looks like with your numbers. If you want to see what this 2-step process looks like with your actual numbers, book a call and we'll map out a gap funding, the pay down, and the stack so you know exactly what you'd be working with and the sort of profit you could generate off that first stack getting into the business. So book a call, head to gapfunded.com/apply to get started. We'll walk through your specific file and build out a full picture. No obligation, just a softball. And worst case scenario, you're walking away with a full-blown game plan. So gap funded, days, not months. That is the 2-step process, getting people into vending machines with no money down, gap funding, pay down, score jump, 0% stack, in that order. If this was useful, there is a lot more breaking down the other ways investors and business owners are funding deals without touching their own cash. So hit the subscribe button, head over to our website and learn more.